Hey guys, so today I have a really special guest, and of course, you notice him, and he's been here before, and he's probably, I don't know, might or may not drive up the price of Chia on this conversation, but we're going to be talking a little bit about the GPUs and Chia and what's going on with the hard fork. Pick the brain of the mad mechanics himself, which is MADMAX. How you doing, Max?
Good, good. Thanks. How you
It,
doing?
you're good. It's been a long while since we spoke, but
Hmm.
a long way has come where Chia is now. So I'm gonna jump right into it. One of the first questions that a lot of people are debating about in my comments is that is Chia now with GPUs considered GPU mining? Is it proof of work? You got guys like you,
Mm.
and then you definitely have guys like Dr. Plotter that
Mm.
has more significant amount of requirements, and they claim or he claims that it's more energy efficient to run it the new way with GPUs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if you talk about energy efficiency, it doesn't really matter if you're running hard drives or GPUs. At least until you get to the replotting attack, sure, then it's just a waste. But as long as you're balancing the power use for GPU and hard drives, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's getting a lot closer to proof of work now. And I guess the highest compression for Dr. Plotter, you're probably looking at a 50-50 split.
I was watching his whole YouTube video that he had. He has it right here, explaining Dr. Plotter and how it works and what it does, and he actually got his inspiration off of you, which he clearly says in this video. So more props to you because you definitely
Mhm.
drove a new division of people who wanted to, uh, you know, test the technology on this. Now, what are your thoughts on Bram's hard fork of Chia, which I think in my opinion is that obviously it's going to divide the two groups, right? It's going to create a new
Mm.
coin, and while it's doing that, you're going to have people who are going to want to stay on the old one, which is not going to be, I guess, favored by Chia because it has all these high
Mm.
levels of compression, which he also claims, which is Bram is also claiming that it has what Chia was supposed to be. So, what are
Mm.
your thoughts on that as far as the hard fork?
Yeah, so I think it's a good idea what they're trying to do
Hmm.
because I mean it was supposed to be proof of space, right? And right now it's not really that anymore.
Right.
So it does make sense to fix the issue. To be honest, at least on my Discord, I haven't gotten any negative feedback about the hard fork at all. Everybody is happy that they no longer have to replot every half year when a new compression comes out. So of course you need to replot again for a new format, but hopefully that would be the last time, right?
Right. Well, see that I think there's a slight difference this time because it's not just about replotting. This is about a new coin. Can you dub a new hard fork XCH while the old XCH still exists? Because you
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like how can you have both at the
Yeah,
same time?
yeah. I mean, hard fork always creates two chains, right? So
Right.
it's not you cannot choose. It's always going to do that.
But
The
you have
question
to
is, are we taking which one are we taking serious?
right, which I understand, but you have to be able to identify the new one compared to the old one. You can't call them both XCH, right?
Right,
So what would you
right. But
do?
if I think there's going to be a transition period, right, where you
Hmm.
can you can farm both plots, and we can see how many people are replotting, right, during that period. So when the hard fork happens, we can see in advance already. Um, how many people vote for the new, how many vote for the old. And if the old chain is 100 petabytes and the new chain is 20 exa, you know, nobody's going to take the old chain serious.
Right.
If it's 50-50, then we might have an issue. Yes.
As far as my understanding of it, and some of the people who watch, who stand on my side, not everyone agrees on what I say and what I do on this channel,
Uh-huh.
but what I was trying to figure out is if they have the 21 million pre-farm on the existing
Mm.
XCH, right? The original
Yeah.
Chia.
Yeah,
How
that's
does
going
that?
to carry
How,
over.
it's just gonna carry over. No
Yeah.
issues.
Well, it's going to be duplicated, but yeah.
That's the question. Do they duplicate it as in there'll be two 21 million pre-farms, or are they going to really just
Uh,
carry over? You know what I mean? Like anything is possible, right?
if we have a 50-50 split and both chains are considered viable,
Hmm.
then yes, you will duplicate the pre-farm. But if that happens, the XGH price also will go down.
Right. Right.
So
Okay.
in the end, I think the market cap will stay the same
Got it.
for the pre-farm.
Got it. But of course, no matter what Chia comes out with, you're always gonna be able to do something to it, right? I mean, what is your relationship right
Yeah.
now with Chia right now? Do you still talk to anyone
Well,
that works there, or?
yeah. I recently talked to the whole team, almost like
Oh,
10 or
okay.
15 people
Right.
about
There's
plot
only
compression.
15 people there
Oh,
now. Is that what you said?
no, that's more. No,
Oh,
I
there's
mean,
more.
I just talked to the people who are
Who are important.
interested in the topic. Yeah.
Got it. For the GPU stuff,
Yeah, we
or?
talk about the compression, and I kind of gave them some tips, how to design the new format to be
Right.
more resistant. And of course, it's not going to be 100% resistant to compression. It's not possible.
Right.
So you will still have. It depends how they choose to design it, because the more you try to make it non-compressible, the more difficult it's going to be to plot. It's probably going to be that you will need a GPU to plot efficiently. It's probably going to go in that direction. And
Right.
if Gia thinks that's a problem, they might back off more and make it more compressible again.
Okay.
So it depends, how
So
it's gonna go.
what I just heard from your answer is that you're contributing to this new hard fork then.
Well, in terms of brain power, yeah,
Yeah, that's what. Well, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, you're
mm,
contributing by helping them and explaining to them the possibilities and what should or shouldn't happen, right? All right, that's
yeah.
good. Interesting because in all honesty, I think you're the one who caused all this, right?
Not really, no SSD, no SSD started it.
Oh, no SSD stuff. How was
Yeah.
that any different? Let me ask you that. How was that any
Mm.
different? Me, anyone else who's watching this, how are you between MADMAX different from no SSD and no different from Dr. Plotter? Are you guys all the same, just using different computations, programming, or are you guys totally different and but in the same way still trying to achieve the same goal, which is farming XCH? How are you guys different
Well,
from your technology to no SSD?
we're definitely all independent. We're not working together.
Oh,
And
okay.
the first, like Gigahorse 1.0 and the first NoSSD version was roughly the same algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gigahorse 2.0 and NoSSD 2.0, it's kind of diverged, but like the main idea I think is the same, but NoSSD still had some trick in the pocket to get an advantage.
Yeah.
And I guess now with Gigahorse 3.0, I got a kind of the advantage back. And I don't think any format right now is using the method that I'm using for Gigahorse 3.0.
When you
And then Dr.
say
Plotter
right,
again is something else again.
so when you say advantage, what exactly does the advantage mean? What's in your
Uh,
advantage over no SSD?
it Yeah, it just means you can farm more space
Oh, far more
on
with
your you can compress more for the same compute, or you have
less
less
space,
compute for the same compression. The
but
way you can,
requiring less physical space, hard drive
yeah.
space.
Right,
Oh,
right.
so that's the advantage. Okay. And you
Yeah.
you kind of touched a little bit on the Dr. Plotter. So how are you different from Dr. Plotter? And what I know Dr. Plotter's requirements is a lot higher as far
Right.
as what they're asking for. I believe like a 3090 plus 128
Yeah.
gigs of RAM. So it's a
Right.
lot of hardware to achieve
Yeah.
something.
He told me he had like three different methods,
Mm-hmm.
and because NoSSD and I already implemented the other methods, he chose to go to the extreme end
Mm.
and try to get that market.
So is he considered like the highest level of compression for Chia?
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Dr. Plotter is. And it's interesting because they're like, oh, they some people use the comparison that, oh, it's not GPU mining unless you're using Dr. Plotter. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me, right? Like if you're using GPUs, it's GPUs. Whether you're using a lot of it or a little bit of it, it's GPU
Yeah.
mining, isn't it? At the end of the day.
It depends on the ratio. If you have 10 petabytes and just one GPU, then you can forget about the GPU. But if
Okay.
it's 50-50, if you have 10 petabytes and you have, I don't know, 20 4090s, then it's pretty close to a 50-50, right?
Right.
I think you should look at a capex, capital expenditure. If you're spending the same amount of money on GPUs as you're spending on hard drives, then
It's
I would say it's 50-50, right?
right. Right.
Yeah. Or you can look at the power draw also. If your GPUs are using the same power than your hard drives, then you can also say, oh, it's 50-50.
Okay. So like right now, I have 300 TIBs, right? And what
Mm.
exactly in your mind would be the most efficient compression on your software Plus, what type of video card would I require to run 300 TIBs?
Right. So I can compare to my farm right now. It's about 150 physical, so about a half your size. And I'm using C31
All right.
on a 2060 Super, which is kind of a weak
2060
card.
Super. Okay.
Yeah.
What is that, like $200?
On a deal for a new gaming PC.
Okay.
And I just took it and put it in my server.
Got
I
it.
don't know what the cost. Yeah, it's probably $200, maybe
Yeah.
less. It was a used one, but in really bad shape.
That 2060 Super can actually run your whole 150 compressed. And
Yeah.
you know, just in comparison, that compression level, the original.
Oh, I should say it can run it at the next filter, at the 256 filter.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I just want to get a better understanding is the original plots before you do anything with GPUs, the original ones that Bram put out, they were like what, 100 and was it 101 gigabytes each?
101.4, yeah.
Right, 101.4. So with the 2060 Super on your 100, you know, your 150 TIBs or whatnot, or close to it, how much does that reduce it by?
Yeah, so well, the 150 physical is gonna stay the same, but you're gonna get a higher effective space, which is for the C31, 263%. So I will have almost 400 terabytes.
Wow.
Effective. Yeah.
Wow. So more than double. That's insane.
Yeah, it's more than double.
Yeah. So I could see I could see why a lot of people feel like, you know, it's out of their league to do all this because one, it's having to replot, right? I mean, but how long does it take you to actually do one plot now on that? If you were to add more right now, how long does it take?
It's a little bit faster than the older formats because there's less work being done when plotting.
Okay.
On my Dell T3610, it's just a full RAM build DDR3 3060 Ti. Okay. I'm doing a plot in a bit less than 2 minutes.
A bit less than 2 minutes. Wow.
So
that's,
120 seconds, let's just say that.
Right.
A little bit less. So the plots are smaller, which means you need to plot more plots.
What if you had 2 or 3 of these 2060 Supers and you had your requirements for the machine itself wouldn't need a lot, right? Bare minimum like 16 gigs of RAM?
You mean for plotting?
Yeah, for plotting.
For plotting, I'm using the 3060 Ti.
3060 Ti.
It's a different.
It's a different. Farming, you're using your 2060 Super. For plotting, you're using a 3060. Okay.
I'm too lazy to switch the GPUs around.
Right. Understood. So does the GPU? So now you're telling me your 3060 is actually pushing out 2-minute plots, more or less.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is
But you need the full RAM. You need the 256 RAM.
200. You can't nothing lower than that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You can do partial RAM 128 gig. And you can do disk mode, which only requires about 16 gigs of RAM. Okay. But obviously, it's much slower. It depends on your SSD.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Anything. I mean, you need money to play, right? These guys are. Whoever has more equipment can do things a lot quicker, which I understand. And I think this is where the debate comes in with the hard fork because a lot of guys who have the equipment, GPUs, memory, and all these enterprise level drives feel like, hey, if I have it, I should be able to do it. And if guys like MADMAX and Dr.Plotter comes out with their technology they claim that they're improving on top of Chia, but then you get Bram coming out and saying, no, this is not what we're supposed to do. So where do you divide this? How do you justify what the creative Chia himself is saying compared to what you guys are doing? How does that work?
Well, I guess we're only doing it because we can do it and it increases our
chances
farming
of earning
income, right?
Right. Which I agree.
There's no ideological reasons for doing it. It's just purely.
And it's not even cheating. Yeah. You're not cheating the system in a way, but he's saying, it's already happening, grinding table 1. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So the Dr.Plotter and NoSSD 2.0, Gigahorse 2.0 already
did that.
Are already grinding table 1. Basically, you're computing table 1 completely, but you're not storing all the results. You're only storing certain chunks of it.
Right, I'm sure, yeah.
And then processing further from that, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's already at that point. 3 years ago, Bram did not even anticipate anything being this powerful or this fast to even attempt that. So obviously
it existed back then already, but I think
I'm sure
I think Prime is too far removed from the hardware and high performance
Mm,
computing world to have seen that coming.
right,
And
right,
also to have seen that coming. And
right,
also the original guys who made the original Chia Plotter, they're also not I think they were academics and not high performance computing guys.
right. I remember the original discussion that he had when he was discussing the whole grinding up table one was that even if it was possible, he even said even if it was possible, it would not make
Mm,
economical sense. But
mm,
obviously, 3 years later, you're able to
mm,
buy a 3090 for like $600-700 now, Ti,
mm,
let alone, and
mm.
128 gigs of RAM for what, like $500. You could build a supercomputer for probably a lot less then than it costs now because of inflation, right? You could
Yeah,
have bought
sure.
all that. So I maybe their thinking or his thinking was that it didn't make sense to have all this equipment to do all this just for Chia for a coin that was only going to be
Mm.
worth $20 XCH, right? So obviously you had different thoughts. Dr. Plotter had different thoughts. And did you ever speak to the NoSSD creator? You've actually interacted with him?
No,
No. So his
they're kind of secretive. Yeah.
oh, they're secret. Oh, okay. So
Mm.
I heard a lot of. Is there a lot of negativity towards them for some reason? Eh,
Yeah, well,
What?
the reason would be because they're trying to bring the Nakamoto coefficient down for Chia.
How would
I
they
think,
accomplish that exactly?
well, they're running a classical pool basically, which is creating the blocks on the pool
Mm-hmm.
side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they basically have full control over the consensus and the
Oh,
blocks they're creating. And the whole
interesting.
idea of the Chia pooling protocol was to avoid that, so that each individual farmer is still making
Right.
the blocks, right?
Yeah. So
So NoSSD is basically like a Bitcoin pool 10 years ago, technology
right.
wise.
So how is Chia combating that? Just putting a bad press on them,
Well,
saying don't use them.
it's not, that definitely hasn't worked so far.
Yeah, I know.
I
Obviously,
don't think you
people are
can
not
do much
listening.
about it. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't think
maybe
they.
if
Yeah.
they send them over $2 million or something, they might do
Oh,
something. But at the same time, maybe
well,
not.
did they send you $2 million?
No, no,
No.
definitely not. No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
so
no,
obviously you're helping the Chia Network right now to you're giving them ideas. Are they paying you? Are you a consultant?
no,
Are
no.
you no? You're just
Well,
doing this
they
because you
did.
feel like it?
Well, no, they did pay me for the last meeting
Okay,
where I helped them about the compression methods. Yeah,
got it.
but I'm not on a payroll or anything like that.
You're not on the payroll. All right.
Mm,
So we all know that they publicly announced that they cut their staff 26,
mm,
27 people. Do you
mm,
do you know what the reason is? Obviously, the reason is because it costs a lot of money to have that many people on the payroll.
mhm.
But because of that, is it because Chia is running low on funds or grants or whatever it is that they get from trying to get more money?
I would assume so because they're burning a lot of cash.
They are
You know,
burning a lot of cash.
to me, it's a total mystery why you would hire so many people. But
Mm.
it's just a different philosophy that I have and big
Right.
companies have.
Besides the whole compression
Mm,
and how Chia technology works, do you understand what their goal is to make money?
mm. I guess it's about having connections to big institutions, and I don't know. It's a totally different world. I'm just a small time developer, and
Right.
they come from a totally different background. Where you have connections to the World Bank and whatnot.
Mm.
If I call the World Bank now, they're like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Understood. Understood. No,
Yeah. So
I honestly, from a outside perspective, I look at you as a big contributor to Chia because if it
mm,
wasn't for some of your, no, if it wasn't for your technology, a portion of it, a lot of these new farmers would not have jumped on board because they were like, well, I don't want to do hard drive mining. You
mm,
introduced GPUs and they were like, oh, I have a
mm.
GPU. I want to use that. I want now I'm interested. Right. So
Yeah, it's a new toy. Yeah.
it's a new toy. So you brought something new to the table. And then, obviously no SSD came along, Dr. Plotter came along. I don't know who else is going to come along. We don't know what's going to
Mm,
happen. Right. And especially
mm,
if Chia decides to hard fork all this, you said that compression will never go away. There's always going to be some level of compression, but they want to minimize those compressions. We're not going to get a full range of someone having, or let's just say in the future, 1 terabyte of RAM, and what we're at 40s. Let's just say by that time, NVIDIA will have like 80, 90s, right? Jumping on, and Chia is going to be in the same situation again, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, storage is getting cheaper also.
Right.
So I don't think you can look at it like that,
But I
saying,
honestly,
your computer is getting cheaper, but storage also.
Right. That I understand. And
I think it will balance each other out.
It will balance, but because storage is getting cheaper, you'll just buy equivalent, right? You can buy half of the amount, because like the video that and I'll show in a little bit, Dr. Plotter had, he said his whole reasoning was because he didn't want clutter. He didn't want hard drives all over the place. He wanted sufficient amount of hard drives plus GPUs, and it reduced the size of his farm, right? That's definitely what he was trying to accomplish, and that's his reasoning for doing this. So it's a balance.
Yeah.
And you definitely introduced all that.
Running a bunch of drives, it's hard work. I went to a bigger farm in Florida last year.
Right.
About 16 petabyte physical, a couple racks and a lot of JBods. And I just upgraded a few servers, installed some GPUs for GPU plotting.
Right.
And I think one JBod had an issue, and I had to swap the drives. And I was doing hard physical work for almost a week just for that.
Right.
So it's a lot of work and a lot of maintenance.
And I have a dead drive somewhere, and I don't even know which one it is. I'm not really monitoring it like enterprise level, where I have like a network operating system center, and monitoring which hard drive is dead and which one is not. I gotta go look for it now. But I just wanted to show that clip, so what I was talking about.
About your carefully crafted hard disk setup, and then imagine it turning into a raging inferno of GPUs. So you might ask yourself why I spent so long on these plot formats, and basically the concept for me was turning a farm from this, which I didn't want to have at home, into conceptually something that was more like this, which was a balance between the number of hard drives you have and the number of GPUs you have to run them. But ultimately it came down to the return on investment, your ROI. When running a farm, you'll inevitably begin to
basically just said that, instead of, having this, what he was doing for Chia farming, he wanted something more sleek and sophisticated, and only GPUs could have done that, which is true, right? Because it's you said half and half. But as soon as the GPU percentage goes over 50%, it's GPU mining, more or less, right? So I'm glad we're on the same page with that. I've been saying that from the very beginning. Like, as soon as GPU was introduced, it wasn't going to get like, oh, you're not going to have 10 GPUs and one hard drive. Maybe. I mean, if I'm thinking about it logically, it's possible. You could have 10, but how much compression
you can do it right now.
You could do it right now.
I could do it right now, but it doesn't make sense economically.
It doesn't make sense economically, but it doesn't mean that you're defying the possibility. Meaning, Bram's whole grinding table 1, you're beyond that at that point. 10 GPUs with one hard drive, you're basically how much compression you think you can put on with 10 GPUs with a, let's just say, a 18 terabyte drive. How much would that compression look like while farming? How much storage would it could pretend to be in out there farming Chia? Possibly.
You can get close to a 10x, I think.
Wow.
But again, it doesn't make sense economically. If it did make sense, I would already have released it.
I understand. I think it only makes sense if someone has access and go back to Chia's original, don't go out and buy hard drives. Just utilize whatever you have. But utilizing whatever I have was only a few hundred megs of space, so that didn't work out pretty well, and everyone went out to go buy it, right? So with the technology already being there, you are definitely, it's a cat and mouse game, right? I mean, it's always going to be, it's very divided right now. You have guys.
I don't see the division really. Well, okay. I'm limited to my Discord mostly.
Right. Well, your Discord is very your Discord is very pro GPUs. Okay, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, but again, nobody's complaining.
Well,
Very few people.
that's the funny thing. Like when you're on the Discord, whether it's yours or Chia's, you're always gonna get the same group of guys. You
Maybe.
realize, I mean, I'm just saying, like there's supposedly there's hundreds of thousands of farmers. They're not all on the Discord.
Yeah, true.
And a percentage of them are even on the YouTube side, and that's not a significant amount of there's a lot of people who just are not speaking up.
Yeah,
Or
true.
they're dropping off, right? Because supposedly the node counts have been dying down for some time now. So
Well, that would be explained by NoSSD, right? The more
mhm,
people switch to NoSSD, the less
you
nodes
don't
you're
see
gonna
them
have.
anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's true. That's true. And if they're going on no SSD, obviously whatever Chia is saying about them is not working either, because people are going to make up their mind on
Yeah,
what they want to do.
right. But you forgot.
Yeah.
They can make the new plot format count more.
Mm.
So I think that's what they're gonna do to make people switch to the new format and to embrace the hard fork. It's gonna
Okay.
be the new plots are gonna be considered more. They're gonna be considered bigger from the
Right.
get-go. So without compression, you will get, I don't know, maybe 50% more or 100%. I don't know. It's
Okay.
up to them to choose some parameter to incentivize using the new plots,
Got it.
And
All right.
I think the majority are just gonna do that. And maybe a few percent, like 10-20% maybe are too lazy to replot and they just say, oh, whatever.
Oh,
But I
that's
think the majority,
yeah.
huh? That's you?
I was going to say that's definitely me. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have a lot of GPUs there for plotting, I see.
I do. I do. But
Wow.
even like I don't want to utilize. I have a primary machine that has like 128 gigs of RAM, but I don't want to use. I don't want to use that for anything. Meaning it's my personal work machine, and I do stuff on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to load Chia on there just for plotting. You know what I mean? Like if I had to dedicate something, I will have to go out and buy another 128 gigs of RAM, throw it on something, and
Right.
then use that for the plotter. But I really don't, and that's the reason why I'm keeping a lot of it, that separation. Right, I have different machines for different things. I don't
Yeah, me
intermix
too.
things. Yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah.
now that you understand that, I don't have 128 gigs to spare around, or nor do I want to reduce my primary machine to like 16 gigs or 32 gigs. I just want to leave it the way it is. So
Right.
so that's where the laziness comes in. Not just because I'm lazy, it's because I don't want to spend more money. Because I know if I get into this whole GPU stuff with Chia, I'm gonna spend more money, and that's one thing a lot of people don't have a lot of, is to spend more on Chia while the price keeps on dropping.
Yes.
So so yeah, I mean that's pretty much where I wanted to kind of pick your brain to see that you said pretty much if anything over 50% of GPUs, percentage wise to hard drives, you're gonna look at it, and a lot of people do look at it. I look at it as GPU mining. No matter what the hell you kind of convince me to say that it's still post, I don't feel that it is once it reaches a certain threshold, right? That's gonna be a given.
Yes.
Of course, thank you for the explanation between NoSSD and Dr. Plotter. And you guys are definitely, you're challenging Chia, like head on. You definitely challenged it, and you guys succeeded. Well, you succeeded because you introduced all this to the world practically. But so I recall that there was a little bit of tension prior when you first were supposed to be on board with Chia. Has that been cleared away, or are you guys good now? Is that why you're willing to help them? No hard feelings, just business.
Yeah, it kind of faded away. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So do you still speak to Gene and Bram, or
Bram, yeah, I spoke at the last meeting with them. Yeah. But
okay?
Gene, I don't know.
Oh, Gene, you don't speak
No,
to much. Okay.
no, I mean, it just didn't have the chance or the purpose.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay. I know Gigahorse required as people were hitting blocks on Gigahorse, did that go down a lot because of no SSD and Dr. Plotter coming out?
Gigahorse lost most of its net space to NoSSD 2.0. Yeah.
How much of it was lost?
I don't know, maybe 50% now, almost.
Wow. Wow. And
Yeah.
what drove them to go there opposed to staying with Gigahorse? It's just
Well, because it had smaller plots.
smaller
Not
plots.
much you can do about it. Yeah.
But now you
At
say
at the
that
time,
you have the advantage now.
Yeah, no. Let's
But
see.
did you
For
see
how long?
did you see numbers coming back once you had the advantage?
Well, it's only been 2 weeks, so we're
Two
gonna
weeks,
have to
right?
wait for that. Yeah.
Right. Two
It's
weeks.
adoption is always seems to be exponential. In the beginning, it's
Yeah.
like almost nothing, and you think, oh, nobody's using it, but then suddenly goes,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
same for NoSSD 2.0.
Right.
You know, it also went exponential.
And of course, Dr. Plotter doesn't have any proprietary. It would still use the same Chia uh, software to plot.
No, the plotter is proprietary for sure.
Right. The plotter is
And
proprietary, but farming the XCH is still utilizing Chia's original software, right? That's possible, I think.
yeah, but in a binary format, I think. But I think Dr.Plotter, you can connect to a normal GR nowadays.
Okay.
But also for Gigahorse, we're gonna have a new farmer called Fast Farmer,
Yeah.
which allows you to do the same
Understood. Got it.
because it's based on chip 22.
Okay.
Yeah,
Appreciate your time again, MADMAX,
yeah,
and
sure.
definitely
Thanks for
I'd
having me.
love to. Yeah, I would love to talk to you more about what your situation is going forward with Chia, or if you're gonna plan to do
Mhm.
more for it. Are you still constantly developing on improving Gigahorse, or are you kind of
Yeah,
on
yeah.
hold right now?
I'm s-
Yeah,
no, I'm still
still
busy because I still have a few lower levels for the new format plan or in the
interesting.
works right now. Yeah.
Okay, what's driving you? Let me just ask you that. Let's end here. What's driving you to do all this with Chia specifically?
Well, it just happened randomly, to be
Right.
honest. I just stumbled on Gia randomly,
But you did
and
what you did
then
already. Like you have your Gigahorse now. You
yeah,
made
yeah.
this whole. So what's driving you to continue to improve it? Is it because you have a good base of people on it where you're getting your fair share of compensation because people are using Gigahorse, or what
Yeah,
is it
sure.
that's a part of it, right? Because obviously you're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
paid to do it. Is that the
But
drive?
also I kind of enjoy also,
You enjoy it.
high
Okay.
high performance computing. I always enjoyed it,
Got it.
and
Got it.
if you can make money at the same time, it's
Why not?
yeah.
Understood. All right.
All
So
right.
that was it. I appreciate this talk. Thank you for joining me.
Mhm.
I know we have a totally time difference in
Oh
across the
yeah, no
world.
problem.
So we'll
Yeah.
definitely, I'll reach out to you again, and I appreciate you
Mhm.
doing this with me.
Yeah, sure.
All right,
All right.
Max. Talk to you soon.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
one. Yeah. See ya.